So we keep thinking about the three P's, the fact that life is not permanent, it's not perfect, and it's not personal, and how hard the three P's make life. It just keeps showing up in hard ways, and every one of us has a long list of ways that life is hard. And we're inclined to make life harder when we get caught up in the four conditions of being human that are beyond our control. When I say caught up, I mean we're not especially aware in the moment of what condition is having a big impact on us. We haven't had the opportunity to understand what these conditions are. We haven't taken the moments to explore how each of the four conditions shows up uniquely in each of us and how it impacts our lives. And when we're in that place, then we're making life harder. And in this experience here with mindfulness, in the M&M mornings, we're discovering an alternative. We're discovering the ways of being that are on the right-hand sides of these five ranges of behaviors that I've described in that diagram that I've sent out 2 or 3 times this week. On the right-hand side, we have the behavior of allowing, of witnessing and discerning, of merely observing our emotions as opposed to being entangled in them, and giving up relentless doing and busyness for simply being present to this amazing experience of being alive that in so many ways is a gift that we didn't ask for. And however challenging it is, and it can be very challenging, we also know that there are the alternative moments of great joy. Now, in emphasizing and looking more closely at these ways of showing up that are on the right-hand side of this diagram, we are not being dismissive of or critical of what's on the left-hand side. These are essential skills for navigating life on a day-to-day basis. And when we are able to use them with intention, use them deliberately to support us in a given circumstance, to use them skillfully, they are of great benefit to us. It's only when we allow them to spill over, when we rely on them to do tasks that they are not designed to do, sort of like taking a hammer to a screw instead of using a screwdriver, just using the wrong tools, that we get in trouble with them. By being in a skillful place of spaciousness, we're able to choose. And we get to that skillful place by relying on our mindfulness practices of concentration, awareness, and connecting with kindness. When we engage in these basic practices, they're giving us the most fundamental skills for showing up in life, for allowing us to have greater access to our 5 characteristics of enoughness: awareness, self-regulation, learning, avoid that which is dangerous, approach that which is beneficial. These 5 characteristics that we all are born with that are the ground of the enoughness to be able to live a human life. Having access to them through these practices really matters. So let's take a moment now and do a little reflective exercise and recalling a recent significant experience. Maybe it's one that was a challenge, or maybe it's one of great joy. But just choose a recent experience that was either a challenge or a joy. Your choice. And now imagine that you have complete open choice of how you're going to show up for this experience. And I'll repeat the choices again in terms of these 5 ranges. Maybe this is an experience where we choose to show up analyzing, fixing, and controlling. Or maybe this is a time for allowing. Maybe it's a time for being distracted and believing our own stories. Maybe it's a time for witnessing attention and discernment. Or maybe it's a time to just allow ourselves to be entangled in our emotions, whatever they are. Or alternatively, observe our emotions. Maybe it's a time for doing. Maybe it's a time for being. What is your choice about how you're going to show up for this particular experience of life? And imagine actually showing up in this way. How would you be behaving? How would you be acting? What might you be feeling? Continuing to experiment with what it's like to make this choice about how you show up. Practicing making the choice. Maybe even experimenting with an alternative choice. Testing out what some alternative way of showing up might be like in this experience. And now stepping back and observing this experience and noting the difference between making your choice deliberately, intentionally, versus being in reactive mode. Surely you've had this experience and been in reactive mode as opposed to choosing. Noticing the differences. In your own experience, in your own feelings. What's the difference in the impact on others around you of being in a place of choosing versus reactivity? There are many experiences where we start out in reactive mode and realize it fairly quickly and find the space to make a choice, to take an alternative approach. And letting go of exploring these experiences, taking a couple of deep breaths, and just flowing along into a meditative practice. Letting go of all of that awareness and cognitive processing on the out-breath. And allowing your attention to go to your breathing. Noticing any softening accompanying this gentle breathing. Perhaps focusing on the in-breath and letting go on the out-breath. And in the next few moments, expanding your awareness, opening your awareness to whatever's arising, thoughts, emotions, physical sensations, being an observer of whatever is arising. Noticing any inclination to get caught up in the thought or emotion. And gently come back to observer role and begin again. And now bringing to mind an image of yourself and offering this image, this experience of self, some kindness for being present here this morning, for your willingness to engage in these experiences. For your willingness to be in a place of allowing and being. Feeling a sense of connecting with this self that's evolving into your own unique wholeness. Taking another moment, simply continuing to pay attention to what's going on inside yourself. Noticing what's present for you at the moment. Here's a reflection question for this morning. How might you change your relationship to the experiences of your life? How might you bring some more of these ways of showing up that are on the right-hand side of the diagram into ways that you are relating to the experiences in your life?